welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Smith Tools and Purchase, Level Plain Poem, Vitali Z, Colton James, BG, Survive the Spin, FE Patriot, Thomas van der Zander, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Sea Level Cultist, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twad Wuzzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, J Melds24, Unamento, M, Iron26, Endless, Golden McKierno, Retro Bell, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Hairy Blade, Mobile Mac 777, Rob W, Dal West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Young Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So, another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand across to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show. Very well, how are you?
Great to be here.
I want to see that video. The guy who takes on 10 flat earthers. Who is it? I can't see the icon picture.
I'll let the suspense eat away at you, Neil.
Yeah, but we don't even know if Nathan's going to go over it. Let's face it, stumbling into the show 10 minutes before it starts.
You've been singing, practicing, warming up, Nathan?
Me? No, dealing with a return on eBay.
That's why I called him Mr. Microphone Man.
Doing too much.
Isn't there any way, like everybody that's involved, me, I'm just a bystander listening in, like Adam, QE, Flatsy for the grammar, everybody could get together at a certain time, 2 times a week, same time, every time, twice a week. The book will be out by summer's beginning, not summer's end.
Yeah, it's just been a mad dash the last couple of months to just to set up a second ancillary business, essentially, and write the book till wee hours, various nights of the week, and run the show and the after show and just general YouTubing. And I've just taken on too much, and now I'm absolutely exhausted. I'm going to bed at about 3 or 4 in the morning each morning, and still getting up at the same time, 6 or 7 o'clock with the kids. So I'm very, very close to the point of exhaustion, I reckon. But I'm quite content in the respect that I've stopped one half of the process of doing that little business, which is the purchasing stage. So I actually went through this stage when I was a pawnbroker, because I joined as the manager of the pawnbroker when he'd just set the shop up. So I was quite lucky in that respect, because he got to show me how you'd go from nothing to a working shop very quickly. Well, obviously I've nicked all of that and put it into effect, but you've got to spend money quickly and effectively, right, and fill up stock so that it can be out there advertised, churning, right? Well, that bit's quite hard because, number one, most people get stressed out when they're spending money. Now, don't get me wrong, women love spending money, but I don't mean that kind of spending money. I mean trying to drive the price down on something to make it profitable at the other end. That's hard, right? It's a skill, and it takes time and effort to do. You've got to build up a little pipeline like you do when you're flogging things. Well, I've done all that. Everything, I kept saying it while I was in the middle of it, like, oh, the pipeline's nearly empty now. I knew damn well it wasn't. I just wanted you guys to play along while I was doing it, right, and not moan too much. But literally, I have now run out of things to buy, and I'm happy with the amount of stock I've got. I've got about 40 items, 45 items, something like that, and I'm happy with that. I've got 2 or 3 that are on the way in the post, maybe maybe more, maybe half a dozen, I don't know, something like that. A box of 20 little cheap microphones, which I've bought, which I was really keen to get a bundle deal with a load of cheap, like under £10 microphones that I could just churn daily. Like someone will buy one every other day. And I've found that finally. So now I'm done. I've bought everything that I could want in stock. And now it's the case of let it be sold, let it churn through while we finish off the book. And then hopefully, because I'm not going to replenish any of it, better get the bleeding book done. I can't keep 3 jobs. I can't be YouTuber, eBay salesman, and author. I can't do all 3. Right, it's just too much. I've taken too much on.
Yes, you can. You're Nathan Oakley.
I already had not enough hours in the day. That is to say, every second of every hour of every day was filled. And I've taken on an extra thing. Now, don't get me wrong, to fit the book in, I had to drop doing things like Omi videos to fit it in. But then I've added eBay on top of that. So now I'm just going to bed at 3 in the morning and exhausted. And I'm making mistakes. So I'm a bit annoyed with myself today. I made a mistake on eBay with a return, which I'd won. I'd reached the point where the guy who wanted a return wasn't getting it. And then like an idiot, I opened a case on eBay. And I didn't need to do that. So why I've done that is because I'm tired and I'm not on the ball on that in that regard, which has made me fuming mad with myself because I've made an error and it's cost me about 50 quid. Very frustrating. Anyway, aside from that,
How'd you make that mistake though, Nathan?
just tired, Neil. Once you reach a point of exhaustion, you're suddenly making decisions that you shouldn't make. It's the same with purchasing.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. So you were wiped out. I got you.
Yeah, I'm just tired. So I did it yesterday when I was knackered, and the same with other things. Like I'll wake up trying to grab an hour's snooze, and I'll wake up and there'll be a message from someone, and I'll dismiss it, and it'll be an offer for something that I wanted at the right price, and I'll dismiss the offer, and I'll be like, you're like, why did I do that when I'd just woken up? Like, because there isn't any other time to do it. That's why. And for anybody else, they can ponder things, and most people are like, well, you just don't be so hasty. Like, haste is all I've got. I haven't got enough time. So I've got to do it quickly, and then you make mistakes. So I think I've just about gotten away with it. I reckon I've set my little eBay store up without making too many egregious blunders.
Yeah, I really screwed up with that Instacart thing. I regret that. I don't know why I wasn't thinking to just before I just canceled the batch, at least check it to see where my status was. And then if it was at the 15% rate, I could have reached out and explained to them what happened, and perhaps they could have taken it off, without it affecting my rating. But I don't understand why I'm like so down about it. And I realize why. Because it was like a game. Like you got to sit there and wait. And if a big order comes, like $107, boom, you get it. You're excited. It's like hitting a lotto. And that's all gone now. All gone.
Yeah. Well, there we go. That's it. Yeah, you overstretch yourself and then you make mistakes.
You know something, you're right, because that particular day, I was doing DoorDash and that at the same time. So it wasn't sharp.
Yeah, and that's just it, isn't it? There's not enough hours in the day sometimes. But hopefully, with a bit of luck, my eBay store will keep me tied over till the book comes out, and then that will generate a passive revenue. And then I can go back to not having enough hours in the day to just do YouTube. That'd be nice, eh?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we could get a certain 2 days out of the week. You know what I'm saying? Get everybody where they could commit to, let's say, Monday and Friday.
You can't really make any sort of demands like that, Neil, when people are...
No, not demand. Like, get together and let's see. Like, hey, is there any way we could 2 days out of the week, everybody meet at this certain time?
Sure, I get it.
Let's get it on.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello. We should do some housekeeping. We didn't do any yesterday, as far as I can remember. Unless it was just
We're getting sloppy.
getting sloppy, exactly. Need to keep ourselves sharp, keep ourselves frosty, keep the audience aware that these questions have been dealt with a long time ago, and they're only being reiterated in the form of housekeeping questions because they've been dealt with, and we don't want people to forget that fact. That is indeed the purpose of housekeeping, to keep house. So, with that in mind, any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
When you say container, does it have to be physical?
Yes. Can't have a
So what's
non-physical
this I'm
container.
hearing about forces holding in gas pressure?
What about them? You can't have a non-physical container. Is that a
Does
no?
that include vacuums too?
Again, Surf Daddy.
Does that include a vacuum too?
You can't have a vacuum without a container either, no. You'll need a container for either. To have a vacuum, you'd need a container. To have gas pressure, you need a container. Containers are something to contain the gas. They are physical in nature, and they offer the gas the ability to press upon the containment. That, in essence, is what pressure is. The force exerted on the walls of the container. How much there is within the containment is the level of pressure overall. Now, in a vast system, you can have varying pressure states. Those systems can only exist if you have pressure to begin with. And to have pressure in the first instance, you need containment. Physical containment. To be breathing gas, we must be under containment. It is that simple.
Now you're mixing up gas pressure and pressurized gas, Nathan.
They're the same thing.
Pressurized gas.
Yeah, to be a gas that is pressurized, you would need to be in containment and then have more gas added to you to be pressurized at a higher rate, if you want to describe it with that particular convention. But to be pressurized gas is to be gas at pressure. They are one and the same thing.
Yeah, but if you go to Mount Everest, you know, it's different than where I am now. What's the answer for that? The gradient?
And there's no container in between us and Everest, right, Neil?
That's right. You're bloody right.
But there's still gas pressure. There's gas pressure on Everest too. Not much to make the gas pressure, very little vegetation producing the gases that obviously have gone up from ground level for people to be able to breathe at all on the top of Everest, which they do. It's difficult, the air is thinner because there's very little of it being produced, but for it to be at pressure and slightly less than the areas where it's literally being pumped out of the ground, i.e. it's being produced, then you still must be at contained gas to be at pressure at the top of Everest. What's your point?
My point is, it's not equalized. If we were in containment, there would be total equalization. Right?
No, you've got gas being produced at the ground. So if you've got like a lake with water in it and it's getting heated up, then the gas is going to be produced at the lake level, flat, and then go up. But there's going to be a greater abundance of that gas at the point where it's produced, greater than somewhere above it where it isn't. Now, there's still gas up there, and obviously with entropic dispersion being what gets it there, the laws of entropy still hold true. But for that process to take place, and I've already said this once, you first must be at pressure. Therefore, you must have containment. Can we move on? Just for the audience's benefit, the sky's not a vacuum, right? In conclusion, if the sky was a vacuum, then the gas we are breathing would fill that space. It would disperse into it. we'd have never developed pressure in the first place if the sky was a vacuum. It isn't. Outer space, a sky vacuum, is fake.
Yeah, but hold on a second. All right. It could be that, gases move at high speeds in all directions. Maybe they just get a little tired and that becomes the common line where they run out of gas and they just hang out there.
No, they
Could
just
be.
carry on in all directions, whatever vector they're travelling. They don't just run out of gas, as you put it. You mean, what, defy entropic dispersion laws and gas behaviour? No, they won't be doing that. Gas just behaves as gas behaves. It follows whatever vector it's travelling at whatever rate it's travelling until something impedes it. It can't reach absolute zero. It will always obey those general rules of dispersion of gases. That's how gas behaves.
We got to be missing something because everybody can't be wrong. I mean, they brought me in school when I was a kindergartner. They showed me that I am here on this globe and I'm in the solar system and there's outer space and there's other planets. I mean, we have to be missing something, no?
I mean, I don't know what you mean, missing something. What are you talking
Maybe
about?
there's containment, but with little holes in. So when they go to the outer space, they just go through the little holes.
Yeah, something
No.
like that. I don't know.
No, you see, if you've ever seen, like, Alien, where they have the notion that you can look at planets without containment, and you maybe on the Nostromo or whatever it's called, and if a drop of acid gets on one of the windows, what happens? Does it just say, well, most of the gas can just stay inside, it will be all right? No, that's law of nature number 2. Second law of thermodynamics, gas dispersion, entropic diffusion. Right? The higher pressure will eventually equalize with the pressure outside. So if there's a vacuum on the other side of a piece of glass and everything's sealed, then one little hole will result in the equalization of that pressure. Now, you could say, what if I put a meter right outside the window where the pressure's leaking out of the Nostromo? You're like, yeah, it'll be higher there than on the other side of the void of the vacuum. Yeah. But that's entropy in effect, isn't it? The gas dispersing through the hole. Because what's actually happening is all of the gases that are inside the containment are bouncing around and hitting the walls of the container. But eventually they hit the hole and leak out. Now, with enough time, every single gas particle will reach that hole and breach the containment. It's a law of nature. Gas fills space.
So you confirm then. So we all win. So they can have the sky vacuum, we can have containment, and there's just little holes in between.
No, we'd still be dead. That was I thought I just made that clear. You're in that scenario with a Swiss cheese container around an Earth that's a ball, and you're saying, well, we'll just have to concede that to have the pressure, we must be under containment. Well, if it's not contained, if there's a hole in it, look up what contained means. Now, if you've got a prisoner and you go, right, we're going to put him in this cell with lots of holes in it, but that's basically like containment, and then you come back an hour later and he's gone, and you go, wasn't he contained?
By the way, speaking of prison, Vito Guzzo was released the other day after doing 28 years in prison.
Now he's going to go to the
You're proving
mattresses.
my point with that, Nathan.
Sorry?
You're proving my point because there are prison bars where they're wide enough to get your hand through, but not your whole body.
Oh,
So you
go
just
on,
need a
Liam.
rocket. So you just need a rocket wide, small enough to go through the bars.
Right, and inmates like unbonded gas particles.
In this example, yeah.
So they've got no intermolecular bonds. I'm pretty sure there's quite a few intermolecular bonds in prisoners. Or any solid.
I haven't asked them.
You don't need to. They're not gases.
Hold on, he's got a point. That prisoner is contained, but there are slits through those bars.
He's
Now,
a
could it
solid.
be?
Are you deaf? Solid. Gases, right, are unbonded particles.
Oh, shoot. I
Unbonded.
forgot.
So tiny little hole. Yeah? Let's put it this way, right? I've, in the last 12 months, had a humidity problem. In the UK, we seal up our homes in winter. And if for whatever reason you can't control the humidity, it just builds up, right? It's contained if it's all sealed up. Now, the same is true the other way around. If your house isn't sealed, you're just subject to whatever the humidity level is outside. Eventually, the entropic effect of the equalization of the gas within your building will occur because there's holes in your building. So if it's 70% moisture outside, with enough time, it will be 70% moisture inside, just through pure entropic dispersion of gases. Yeah, the high moisture quantity gas outside the building finds a hole, and eventually it bangs against the hole and gets its way into the gas inside to mix with it. And over time, it will equalise. Now, obviously, there's a dynamic system in the respect that there's people living inside and doors opening and closing and various other things, kettles being boiled. We live in a very dynamic world. And as far as gases are concerned, they're affected by everything. So we have a very dynamic system. But it doesn't alter the fact that the gases themselves, in order to be at pressure, must be under containment. We've got one housekeeping question about. We're almost 15 minutes into the live show.
Yeah, listen, gas pressure, you need containment. Let's move on.
Yeah.
As fun as it
Morning,
was.
guys.
Coming from you, Neil, you dragged us all the way here. Well, and me, a little bit.
Chocolate.
Morning, morning.
Morning, morning.
Was that
Okey-dokey.
whiz or was that chocolate?
I believe it's chocolate, my friend. Good morning.
I don't know what
I don't sound that much like that guy. Come on.
No, he doesn't. You don't.
Yeah, this guy, yes, he does. Everybody in chat was saying yesterday, sounds like chocolate, sounds like chocolate. I said, I am chocolate.
No, they've got the same nice tone to their speaking voices. All three of them. I said Snoop Dogg, right? Well, yeah, they've all got that type of tone, but they don't sound the same. I wouldn't say chocolate sounded like that guy. Well, that's just me. I don't think so. I think Eli sounds quite a lot like chocolate some days, but that's normally because they've both got crap microphones, as opposed to they've got a similar tonality.
Listen, so does Eli. He thought he was chocolate himself.
Anyway. Right, we've got a video to cover today, as we've done one housekeeping question. I'm just going to leave it at that. I thought we would get through all of them, but that is definitely not going to be the case, as it seems. So there we go. What we are going to do is talk about this video by Pine Creek. Not a massive YouTuber, similar size to us. In fact, fairly bigger, 10,000 maybe more subscribers than us. So, you know, middle of the road YouTuber. In reality, we're both tiny. But you know it is. He's similar size, right? The video is called I Take On About 10 Flat Earthers. Okay, fair enough. Interesting title. So please let Pine Creek know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get removed by either the YouTube bots or the videographer himself. I'm spamming the link into my live stream chat as we speak. So I'm not saying it for my health, in all sincerity. Do actually go to this videographer. Knowing he's similar size to me, slightly bigger, I would definitely be grateful of the extra views, the extra interaction, the extra thumbs up if you like the video. But every YouTuber likes that interaction, so he's not going to be ungrateful for you popping along and telling him at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Just helps whatever this video is in the YouTube algorithmic statistical love that it needs to be massaged up the rankings, if it's going to be. Now that is true unilaterally across all YouTube videographers, whether they know it or not. But it's more true when someone's of this sort of size, because they're like, man, if I put a bit more effort in, I might actually be a big YouTuber. I've been telling myself that for 10 years. So, I've given you that preamble and waffle just so the 67 people who are currently in my live stream do actually toddle along to Pine Creek and let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get removed by the YouTube censor bots, or indeed the videographer, him or herself. Now, this has been provided to us by... Is it you, Liam, that gave us this? Should really know.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that he's titled the video something like "I take on 10 flat earthers," which is lending credence to Brian's analogy the other day where the globers think that we're so dumb that they can take on 10 of us at a time and win easily, which is quite funny. But unfortunately for this gentleman, he's going to come across some very competent flat earthers, some of which he may recognise.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Go on, Chocolate. Or are you just saying, "Oh, really"?
Hold on. I was
Yeah,
going to.
yeah.
Sorry, I was going
Oh,
to
no.
say, is he taking on 10 feast of nonsenses? But now Liam is saying something like he ran into some competition.
Pound says Neil's called it. Is Neil right? I bet he is.
We'll see.
Hold on. I'm going to give you a quick comment.
One answer, but why does the shape of the Earth matter?
Oof.
Well, it's a category error straight away. So when you say shape, what do you mean shape? We measure an aspect of Earth. Flatness is not a shape. But we do utilise that in terms of daily measurements of the surface of Earth. That's not a shape. So category error. Good.
You know, that's one of those questions that really kind of aggravates me when I decided to not believe what you think the shape of the Earth is, and then you're going to ask me, why does the shape matter? When you attack me for not believing.
Yeah, this guy's, like when I've been saying over the last week or so, that they're the same as us. This guy's the same as us. He's just hasn't got the balls to admit that he's asking these questions, right? He wants to project them straight onto us and moan at us for not having answers, when it's you're the one questioning it. Go and find your own bleeding answers.
Exactly.
Why does the nature of reality matter?
Okay.
I mean, the nature of reality in terms of aspects that we measure, flatness, matters for navigation, building, charting, flying, sailing. You know, there's quite a few things that matter when it comes to measuring that aspect. And it is flat, as I've already mentioned. So that's why it matters, because you wouldn't be able to navigate or build if you didn't have that aspect of Earth to measure. That'd be its flatness.
Okay, can you answer that question?
Well, because we live in reality.
Well, it's all about mind over matter. If it don't mind, it don't matter.
If it didn't matter, they wouldn't be trying this hard to convince you that you live on a giant spinning space ball in a never-ending vacuum.
Okay, but what is it that, what do you think it is that makes it matter so much?
Like, I'm renovating a bathroom, and the guy who was preparing the walls wasn't making them straight, right? So they were at a wrong angle. So when they started putting on the tiles, they started falling down. So in everyday life, it matters a lot what the hell we measure. If we can't measure a 90-degree angle correctly,
perfect. Yes,
you can't even renovate a bloody bathroom.
Gotcha. You're saying without these axiomatic principles like perpendicular 90, you're not going to be able to decorate. You'll struggle in general terms just decorating your home if you don't understand the axiomatic principles of flatness, and they are applied to Earth.
Right. It matters to me if the bloody tiles in my bathroom keep falling down or not. And, in our everyday life, we are confronted on a daily basis with a myriad of situations where it is absolutely necessary that we're able to measure a 90-degree angle correctly.
There's a building in New York, in Nathan Haven. There's a building in New York, in Manhattan, and it's really high, it's a skyscraper, and they were building it, and something happened in the building of it, and they built it at a very, very slightly off of vertical, and they haven't been able to finish it. because it's very slightly off of vertical. Everything else is 90 degrees to horizontal in Manhattan. But this one, because whatever way they built it, there was a problem. They did something wrong. So now the thing is on hold, which I don't know, 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, the stress won't go directly down being perpendicular to the plane of reference that building is built on.
Right. And I'm sure the guy who's asking that question, well, what does it matter? You know, when you see the bill coming from the guys who are building the building or renovating a bathroom, and it's 3 times the price they quoted you, at least at that moment you start to realize how much it matters.
Yeah, I mean, for the purposes of that, right? That's something different. So on a general basis, we deal with numpties who appreciate Earth is flat and believe they're on a ball, telling us how big Earth is to treat it flat. Like, so big it's flat. But in this instance, this is the other end of the scale. This is where it's just locally flat. So Earth's measured flat on the vast scale because it's so big and flat. And also locally, we can reference horizontally because locally it's flat. So to summarise, Earth is measured flat.
Said it already. Just stick with your first point. Pine or Plum Bob, stick with your first point. So you don't care about the nature of reality.
No, I mean, like, you can care about the nature of reality, but let's say someone has a false perception or idea of the nature of reality. Why would that be bad? Just for the virtue of believing a false thing?
Because it means you're not operating in reality. So,
I mean, I don't agree with the guy who's just said it's. I don't care. Would be my answer to that question. Why does it matter? I don't care. You want to operate on some la 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 non-reality? Good for you. Go ahead.
I think
is that QE on the video?
Yes, I think so.
The guy's in 24/7 or politics or one of those. Like, he's in that server. That's why I recognize the people talking. You didn't hear Crit in there before?
So I was wrong.
Nathan, it does matter. This guy is on the road driving a car. He doesn't know what reality is. He's unwilling to accept reality. What's likely to happen with that guy?
Yeah, but
I just answered this once. I just answered this. I don't care. How can what you've said?
If you're on the road with him and you're there with your family in the car and this guy can't understand reality.
Oh, no, that's very different. And then it's life and death. Then that man is either going with the reality of us navigating the flat plane we dwell atop, or he's getting out of the car.
Yeah, I find this question, what is the shape of the Earth matter, coming from the Globers, right? I find that to be just as right on the same level as why would they lie, right? Because I find it fascinating. You're going to ask me now, why does it matter what the shape is when, again, you're arguing with me about what the shape is. You want me to believe what you believe, but yet you're going to ask me now, why does it matter? How does that make any sense? Of course it matters. It matters even more so to you than to me, right? Because you're the one trying to change me back to what you believe it is.
Yeah, it matters today.
Consensus driven.
Just one sec, Brian. Daz, did you want to add something? Hold on one second. Daz, you just off mute accidentally. Daz?
Sorry.
That's right. Go ahead, Brian.
I just say the chocolate, like, it matters to them. When they say, what does it matter? That means you don't. It matters a lot to you. It means that you don't want to address reality. I'll tell you why it matters to me. It matters to me because we were told the Earth was something it's not. And there's people out there who've been in a position to continue this life. And we're dealing with a situation where there's a lot of people out there who are going along with and believing and defending basically a religion that we have no need for. It's only holding back the world.
Exactly.
That's why it matters to me.
I'm sorry, man. Yeah, exactly the point. Because when I was in Discords, talking to these guys, I would get asked this question too. And the thing to me would be like, well, why does it matter to your very paradigm? Why are they intent to make sure I know that I live on a magical spinning water ball before I could even say the alphabet? right? Why is that program so important to you guys? And then you guys, as adults, will turn around and try to come defend it to me, and then turn around and ask me why it matters to me. No. Why does it matter to you? That's what it is. Sorry.
Because it's not a globe.
May I just say, I mean, I don't think I remember Nathan making a claim as to the shape of the Earth. Not ever, as long as I've been listening here. All that we're saying is
that's very
we're measuring
honourable.
flat.
But I have on many occasions said it could be a giant roast chicken. So that's not strictly true.
That's great. I love it. Thanks, Nathan.
Just to add to what Chocolate was saying there, it matters to him or them because it's not a globe. So they want to take away the validity of what the world is, when the same people can't shut up about it being a globe.
Instead of what does it
when
matter?
it's not a globe, they just want to go at don't matter.
Well, no. When they ask the question, when they ask the question that Chocolate's objecting to, right? What does it matter? That's an opener. It's a phrased, specific question that starts the process of projecting their concern that Brian's just described onto that third party, right? What does it matter to you? When what they're actually saying is, this matters to me greatly, and I instantly need to project every bit of it onto you, so that I am relieved of that.
Yeah, and usually this question will either be one of the first questions asked about by one of the globers or a normie, right? Either that, or it'll be the very last question when that glober realizes they have no argument against facts. So that's what it'll come down to. Well, it doesn't matter anyway. We can't know everything. I don't even know if I'm here and talking to you. Like, these are things literally have been said to me and other people in Discord, and like, this is what they do, man. It's insane, kind of. It's amusing.
Yeah, but you know where they're doing that?
Scam.
Go on, Neil, I go after you.
Say it's all a scam because they're profiting from this. I don't care what you say. There's major profiting going on from Earth being a globe. It's all a scam.
What I would say on the back of what Chocolate was saying there is that something I wanted to throw in there, and it's perfect. What Chocolate said was perfect, is because what they want to do is take it away from being an argument that involves, like, I'm repeating my words, that involves geometry and entropy, because that's really the argument, isn't it? And turn it into some philosophical conversation that we can indulge in that won't matter.
Yep.
So they want to take it away from the things that would prove or disprove their position and turn it into what would it matter? Well,
yes, and that happens when they realize they have no proof for it. Then they'll go into the obscure and vague and, I don't know what nobody can know what everything is and blah blah blah, even though 5 minutes ago you were telling me exactly what it was. You realize now that what you just said was debunked, so now we don't know. That's adorable.
Yeah,
in my experience, when I've talked to people, they don't realize that we're not even allowed to explore the Earth. So the Antarctic Treaty forbids us this, and it is enforced. So
where are the guns, Mickey Mouse? Where are the guns?
I just find it fascinating that many times I've heard that argument, and then, when I mentioned the Antarctic Treaty, they have no idea about it. They never heard about it. I don't know if that's
why
just,
are we even talking about it?
Coincidental, or do you guys have a similar experience?
Well, I'm sure Dave McKeegan has done a video on the Antarctic Treaty that will go through it and kind of try to make it into something that it is, because Dave tends to do that. He tends to talk very nonchalant about things while trying to be in opposition to someone else's opinion concerning it, and he ends up supporting their opinion. It's like, why is that door open on the Blue Origin? There's a handle inside. You know what I mean? It's like Dave McGeegan does that.
No, Dave helps support the Feast of Nonsense narrative as it's being discussed in real time. So for him to be on the ball and saying the same thing, well, they have got a handle inside. Look, they've got a handle to open it. It's perfectly normal. Nothing to see here. It's the same position that he holds. We're saying, he gives a crap about the handle. There's no sky vacuum. But if he's taking the perceived, flat earth stance or normie stance, if the normies are the ones saying something's not right here, it's fishy, the door shouldn't open that way, and he's saying, yeah, it should, look, it's opening that way, and I didn't care. It's another one where I watched that and saw the door open, saw it close, I didn't care. I didn't think anything about it. Suddenly when it became a big deal, I'm like, what? Why is that the thing that you focus on? Realise they've travelled up to be in a black area that's claimed to be a sky vacuum, right? That's the bit. That's the main bit. You're supposed to not look at that bit. That bit's supposed to go by without any concern and then argue forever about what happened on the ground after the landing. Well, Dave just supports that version of how things get argued about. I've got the chat up and I've had for a while. Just wanted to say a big shout out to my mods. So when I was in politics, which I've recently been banned from, I often shouted out and hailed their mods for being excellent. Well, my own mods are exceptional. The best mods there are, and I want to shout them out. So shout out to my Flat Earth Debate mods. You're all awesome.
Hit play.
Yeah, Virgin Droid is unstoppable. Sorry. Go on, Neil. Sorry.
I said hit play. I want to hear more.
So those who do operate in reality are going to have a good advantage over you.
Okay, so now let's say someone believes that the Earth is globe-shaped. How does that affect them in reality? That, like, can they not go grocery shopping well enough, or?
Yeah, basically. So we discussed it already preemptively. Nice that you'd asked that question, though. Because we're describing mapping and charting the world with flat Earth elevation angles to the stars. In terms of building things, you'll need perpendicular, parallel, horizontal, parallel, vertical. All of these axioms must hold true to do anything practical on Earth, ever. So you can dumb it down to go get your groceries, but the roads that were laid to get you there relied on Earth being flat when they were measured and built.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. The said grocery required a flat baseline to build upon. As far as your paradigm, the people who built that grocery store using a flat baseline to build upon it required air, which requires a container. So that's two things in your paradigm that just can't happen.
It's worth thinking of Earth kind of like it's like a Home Depot.
Yeah, it's like, I was going to say that. That's exactly where I was going. It's like, what about the shopping centre he goes into, the Walmart, right? Does that have a curved floor? Because according to you, it should be curved. Because, every tile should just be a tangent.
Nah.
Earth is like a Walmart floor.
Let me tell you something about Home Depot, Walmart. All those floors are perfectly leveled because they're self-leveled. Poured concrete.
I know that, Neil. I'm just saying, from this guy's point of view, he's saying, how would it matter? What about how we lay out a floor in Home Depot? What about flying a plane like Wolfie? He was adjusting for the Coriolis. You know what I mean? I think it can be very dangerous for someone to be out as a sphere and be operating machinery and laying down floors and all this kind of stuff, because they could do it very wrong.
The only way you can operate from a sphere is if you cut that baby in half and you work from the center of it. And guess what? When you do that, you're on a flat plane, buddy.
It's the underlying question. No, go ahead.
You can do all that. It just shapes your perception of things in a pretty significant way.
Because I have a hunch.
Lying around.
I have a hunch why it matters, but maybe I'm way off. but I don't want to say it just yet. I'll say it, but I just want to get different ideas. Like so far, I asked this question in the chat, and I got, well, because we've been lied to. And then I asked the follow-up question, well, okay, but why does that lie matter? There's many things that...
the truth...
I was waiting for chocolate to pop up. No, nothing.
Does the truth matter?
Well, actually, sometimes the truth can hurt you.
So he's accepted the lie then at this point.
Yeah.
But why would they lie? Why would they lie?
Yes.
But that doesn't mean it doesn't matter.
But I'm asking for people to articulate.
Well, I disagree. Again, it doesn't matter, right? The world will still continue to function as it functions, regardless of your belief, which is what's being discussed here. So as much as Brian can probably pipe up and disagree with me for a second time, I will double down on it. It doesn't matter. Earth will still be measured and negotiated, built on, charted, navigated, sailed upon and flown across flat, regardless of you believe otherwise. Makes no difference. Go on, Brian, tell me how wrong I am. Feel free. No, nothing. Fair enough.
You're building a straw man. You're building a straw man there. Because I said it matters when someone's operating machinery, if they want to, and laying a floor, if they want to believe that every tile is a new tangent point, the floor is not going to be level, is it? If they're flying a plane and they're accounting for Coriolis, they're likely to crash. See, these are the things that you have to be worried about.
I did say that. I said all that.
They're around. Whoa. You created a straw man. Let me tell you something, right? We need to go back in history here about exactly who was telling who years ago that they need the earth to be flat to do all these things. Was it you telling me that, or was it me telling you that?
I vaguely remember me telling you a couple of years.
I remember it was me, and I remember you
years before.
So don't hear no more of that nonsense.
Look, but I did just disclaim all that, though. I did say, if we're going to do anything practical, go on whoever it is in Discord. Feel free. Yeah, if we're going to build on it, sail across it, chart it, navigate it, map it, fly over it, it's going to be flat, right? For all practical purposes, it's got to be flat. Now, if you're saying it matters when you do something practical, I completely agree. I'm just referencing, it's not a straw man, I'm saying these guys and their concern. Who cares? For you, does it matter if you know or don't know? No, it don't matter. That's what I'm saying.
That I agree with. Up to a point. Individually, it doesn't matter what he believes or whatever. But it matters when it becomes a consensus issue. That's when it matters. And we're being told the earth is something that it's not. So in that way, I would have to disagree with you.
Fair enough. Go ahead, Moose. Mess. Mickey Mess.
Yeah, from a Christian point of view, if I may open this Pandora's box, that was one of the things that kind of disturbed me a long time, and I couldn't figure it out until I discovered Flat Earth, which is in the scriptures. It is written that when Christ returns, every eye shall see him and every ear will hear him at the same time. So if the earth was a ball and you're in Australia and for some reason he appears in Germany, how the hell are you going to see him?
The internet.
yeah, funny. No, but so from that would be just one example. But if we were to just extrapolate a little bit, why the lie? Well, Satan is a deceiver. And it is his goal to deceive even the elect, to deceive everyone. And what better way than to make the world believe you're in a spinning ball? It's great.
Yes,
it's a great deception. It's fantastic.
In Isaiah, he says, I will ascend above the clouds, above the stars. I will be like the Most High. And here we are in a heliocentric system.
You're going to need the flat earth.
Right. And it all started from an explosion of nothing, which then created the universe, which then created your ball.
Well, what it does matter is... Go ahead, Chuck, I'm sorry.
Jesus was a carpenter, right? So he understood. Yeah, they say. So he would have understood what level is.
He laid the foundations of the earth. He drew a line across it, right? He spoke it into existence, and he did not speak a globe into existence. You can't show me anywhere in Scripture where there's a globe. But that's why there is a globe today in all the classrooms, because anything but God.
Oh, I'm really grateful to Retro Bill, right? So at the moment, I'm doing 3 different things that could be considered gainful employment, right? Author, YouTuber, and eBayer. And in the last 2 days, I've had an absolutely abysmal time of it on eBay, right? I had a string of things tested that don't work. And then today I've authorized a refund I didn't need to. Stupid mistakes. And then Retro Bill has sent a super chat. Great show today. Thanks, Nathan and panel. For $10. That means he was compelled to tell us so much that it was a good show today. Now, when things are going wrong in another aspect of my life, Retro Bill, you telling me that it's been a good show today really means the world to me. Thank you so much. That has really cheered me up. And obviously, thanks for the $10. Definitely need it at the moment. But more importantly, the sentiment I'm grateful for. Thank you so much for the super chat. Retro Bill.
Shout out to you, Retro Bill. Retro Bill been around for a minute. Shout out to you, brother.
Yeah, see, you're grateful for the $10. But I know some people that will curse that $10. But let's not bring that up. Hit play.
What are you talking about? No, I don't. What are you talking about? Who would care $10? That's insane. That makes no sense. What are you talking about?
I think you know who.
No, I don't. Otherwise, I wouldn't be asking.
I'll tell you off air.
Chocolate.
Chocolate, have you been cursing $10 again? What are you babbling about, Neil? Tell us.
What?
There was a certain panel member who used to be on here who said, I don't need the stupid $10 whenever you give me $10. I can't use that.
Oh, you're talking about Arwin.
Thank you.
You're talking about Arwin.
Yeah, that shit pissed me off.
Okay.
Well, I think with the new situation, and we're finally away from the politics server, which was a fun run, but in my opinion, it was kind of like a stuck thing. I think this opened the doors and our minds to start reaching more people. I didn't find Nathan on politics Discord server. I found Nathan on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Or Instagram, other people. So in order to get better reach and in preparation of the release of this awesome book that's coming out, I think Nathan did himself an awesome favor in getting himself banned from the politics server, so we can finally start focusing on venues that will give better reach and a better platform. Not only for Nathan, but also for the book.
Yeah, you
that's
parallel something that came in a different sentiment, right? You'll understand when I explain. So, click OK on the panel. Craig Jr. was saying that because of the manner I was banned from politics, it builds up my profile in infamy, and not for negative reasons. So I kind of frowned when he told me this, and he went over it. Craig, that is Craig, the younger Craig. They're both called Craig at Click OK, which is slightly confusing. But the younger of the two Craigs, right? He's saying, because it's pretty obvious to anybody who goes back and references what you said, that you're not being overtly racist when you use, I spit when I do it, the N-word. I will use the terminology I've been told I must use. But when I used the N-word contextually, and without a hint of racism to diffuse someone else's overt racism, and then got banned for it, that increases the chances of your name, Nathan Oakley, going down in that regard, infamy. Now, when you're building a profile, Craig Jr. was saying, take it. Does it matter? Build your profile up through infamy if that's what you're going to build it up through. Now, you're saying it's good that run, good though it was drawn to a conclusion just before you're going to go out and build up your own channel via YouTube videography means and other people who will be promoting the book. Hopefully, I haven't actually done this yet, but hopefully once the book comes out, people will actually want to talk to me about it on their shows and, sign up for the affiliate link and all that kind of stuff. Well, that will take my YouTubing to another level. I already know that's going to be the case. I'm kind of mentally prepared for it. As long as I can weather the financial storm in the meantime and keep a little bit of money ticking in while we finish it off, I know that's on the horizon, right? I've already said this in yesterday's show. The light at the end of the tunnel is very much glaring into the train windows now, right? So just a little bit further, as long as I don't lose the roof over my head in the last few stages, last couple of months, I'll be all right? But then it means I can completely focus on that. I can just focus on promoting the book and promoting what we do via my name. Obviously, my name's above the door, but it's what we do here that gets promoted as a byproduct of all that hard work over the last couple of years. And indeed, the eBay thing comes into that as well. As much as everyone's moaning, I don't hear about mics. Like, well, no, that kept the roof over my head while I couldn't keep the ad revenue coming in from YouTube. Like, I was dedicating the time that was doing YouTubing to booking, and then the revenue dipped, and if I hadn't done something, I'd have lost the roof over my head. There's a chance the book would have just failed and fizzled into nothing. Because if the author himself isn't there, as much as Brian's like, you hardly do anything, everyone else is writing it for you. Like, no, I have actually got to be sat here. As much as this is a part of the process where I am actually literally not doing very much. I am still there the entire time. It is still mentally draining as much as... Yeah, but sometimes I am playing
the nominal. We can rephrase as the nominal author.
Here we go. That wasn't an invitation for these jokes to start. What I'm saying is, right, during the latter stages...
You didn't mind making me the bad guy.
I'm not going to get to make this point, am I? Here we go.
No.
I had to hold on for my boy Brian, real quick.
I don't want to hear about Neil interrupting anymore. I just witnessed 5 interruptions.
Come on now. Did you hear what he said?
Listen, I was the original interrupter.
Yes, I was
anyway,
about to come in and take you back and say, we're only breaking your chops.
Fine, but my point is, if I wasn't there at all, there would be no book, right? As much as you could say, you're playing Fortnite. Yeah, while I'm sat there and watching it and keeping a very close ear on what's going on, while watching it happen... Yeah, getting jigged around by Adam. And you could easily argue, well, Adam's expelling more mental energy than you are. Yeah, damn right he is. I'm acutely aware of that. I'm still there. I'm still expending the mental energy to do it. It's still part of the process. Yes, I don't have to say much. Yes, I can play Fortnite while it's going on around me, as they're saying it now. I'm not embarrassed about that fact. But can I just bugger off? No, I did the other day. Did I come back, Brian, too? Did I come back to the book being done? No. We came back to you discussing the presentation we did on yesterday's show. Didn't we, Brian?
Hold on. That's because we finished up. We were waiting on you to see if you wanted to keep a certain section in the book or not.
That's the point, isn't it? Right, without me there, suddenly there's going to be a point where it will and can and does and has ground to a halt. So, yeah, jokes aside, you can all nudge me, and it's fun, and for the audience's benefit, it is genuinely in good humour. They know they're irritating me. I'm smiling about it because I've got to keep we're live, right? So if it wasn't, they'd be getting sworn at because they know it's annoying, and they know they're annoying me. They know they're touching a nerve while everyone's doing work around me, and I'm not saying much. Brian knows he's hitting a nerve, bastard.
What do you mean? You're getting annoyed that everybody's writing a book for you?
Here we go.
Your name's still going to go on it.
Neil. There's an art to touching those nerves. Your delivery isn't going to be successful. Brian does it with the right amount of pep. You haven't got that magic, I'm afraid, son. Sorry.
Well, to empathise with you, Nathan, I once watched a movie when someone was in the same room as me building a kitchen cabinet. So I know what that's like.
Oh, yeah. Was it in the cinema itself? Man, it's rough round you.
No, I feel like I built a cabinet with him. Like I was building it myself.
Oh, it was you.
And you have to try to turn me into the bad guy here on your voice in this, right? Brian said this, Brian said that. Listen, Brian wouldn't be able to say anything if you were active and involved.
I've missed the timing to pull at this thread. Oh, no, the nerve is not going to get struck. Oh, how can I capitalise on this? Not smart enough. Oh, no.
Hit play.
Anyway, We're coming up for 10 minutes left on the live show. I typically like to do an hour, right? And it seems to me, I've noticed a pattern. We get to this point, I'll point out that we've got about 10 minutes left on the live show, and then there's suddenly something very pressing that everyone wants to do, and then we end up going over by about 20 minutes each and every single day. So I'm going to see if I can do something about that. I want to round out on the hour today, not for any other reason.
We never want to leave. We never want to leave, Nathan. That's what it is.
But
I would do this
I
all
never
day.
understood that.
What?
I'll be honest. I never understood that leaving on the hour. Oh, it has to be finished on an hour. Like, why does it have to be finished? Why can it not just be longer, like now and again? Why does it need to be an exact? I understand starting at 2:00. That I understand, so it's consistent. But the ending doesn't have to be consistent. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, what are you interrupting
The
to do?
adults start playing Fortnite around late afternoon, bro.
Yeah, sexual. Yeah, sexual has you caught. Yeah, exactly.
No, nothing to do with that. I just want, if I keep the show consistently as an hour, then there's I have to use the word, I'm afraid, a pressure on you guys to keep the material that we do have in the live show consistently of a high quality. If I just say, don't worry about it, we'll stay live for 3 hours, you'll be like, no worries, I'll nip down the shops, I'll get my laundry done, and maybe we'll pop along back and we'll still be live. And it's like, no, just if we keep it to an hour every day, I can't think of the last show I wasn't proud of. I'm proud of yesterday's show, especially Brian. You should be too. Very, very Brian heavy show yesterday.
Well, I was very happy that you promoted the video and you promoted the thing that I wanted to. I initially wanted to be a presentation, but I couldn't get QE's attention. Long story short, my point being about going longer is when a show is going good, you might finish up at the hour at 3:00 London time. If you kept it going till 4:00 London time, loads of stuff can happen in the after show where people would love to be listening to you and throwing super chats and all the rest of it and sharing. Do you know what I mean? Often the stuff happens in the after show and good stuff that happens that over the years, maybe not as much these days, but over the years, there was loads of stuff. And it was the after show and no one could give you a super chat. That's just my point. Like, it's like my point is you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot sometimes with that.
Okay. I mean, you just want to keep it of a high quality, a high standard. So if you're under the misapprehension that the show can go on forever, then there's people become lax, complacent. I need to keep those standards high. So an hour is, I'm sure those words would sound wonderful to a lover. The great pillow talk. Why can't this last forever?
No, sometimes your timing on things, it baffles me too. That time you went on that show with that guy Patrick, right? There was people probably looking for your show, and what did they get? A week of nothing, because you buggered off somewhere when that was the time to be right there doing a show.
I got paid to do that.
But you used the money straight away. You used the money for some improvement with the computer at the time that the computer could have done without for a week. But there was loads of people wanted to join your live show. That's always there, and it wasn't there.
Hold on, let me break this down for the audience, right? Someone offered me money to do something, and I went, "You'll pay me to do flat earthing?" Absolutely, without question, yes. I went and did it, got paid, and then immediately invested the money back into a computer that I'd had horrendous issues with for several years to resolve the issue by just putting a new graphics card in it. I reinvested the money immediately back into my show. Now they're saying, why didn't you leave the piece of crap that was constantly falling over and crashing every single day? Because people wanted to join that day.
No, at that particular time.
That's not what we're saying.
Yeah, exactly. At that particular time, you were keeping the show going. The computer wasn't falling over. There was just certain things that you had to be careful of with it. And you could have gone for an extra week and then got the thing done with it.
Or even just a couple of days. Even just a couple of days. Because there was people that were interested.
I don't know what you're moaning about. I really don't. I love doing this though. This is my favourite bit. Talking about this is great. How we're YouTubing. Because that's all we're talking about, right? How I'm putting myself out there.
No, we're airing our grievances towards you because you're threatening to end the show early. So
Well,
let's
not
just
putting
carry
yourself out there like you
Yeah.
did that time. Like, where was
something
Nathan?
maybe I should plug that, right? That's something I've never plugged. It's just people aren't aware. Maybe they are. I am actually a total whore, and I probably absolutely have mentioned this previously. But if you want me to go on your show, right, and maybe people think I'm saying it for dramatic effect, just pay me. It's not even like I ask a huge amount of money. I think I got a few $100s out of that particular appearance, enough to buy a graphics card or something like that. But, you know, it wasn't an astronomical amount of money. It's not like I'm going to turn around and say, yeah, I want $1,000. Not at all. But there's loads of people out there like, Nathan won't come on my neutral platform. You're like, yeah, well, pay me. It's not going to cost you a fortune. You'll probably make it back in Super Chats. No worries. I'll sit there while you tell me, as Brian puts it, right, this is where Brian and I completely align, right? We absolutely agree with each other. You want to shout me down for a while? Like for an hour? Okay. So if you were paying me $200 and you just shouted me down for 2 hours and you didn't get any responses out of me, and I got $200 out of it, good deal. you get your pain relief for $200. An hour of my time, and I don't even have to answer you because you keep talking over me. No worries. I'll do that for no worries. Right? Brian's like, he wants more money, but the same is true, right, Brian? You want to talk over me for a couple of hours? Just pay me. No worries.
Yeah. Yeah, well, my attitude is if they're going to waste my time for 2 hours, I want to get handsomely paid for it. So in your position, I understand. It's like, you just do it for 2 hours for a couple of hundred. I'm charging thousands. And the reason is I don't want to do it. I don't want to be talking to them. But if they really want to talk to me on their nonsense platforms, that's going nowhere, not going to help me in any way, not going to help my YouTube channel in any way, going to be like 95 or more % followers on their channel, maybe 98% followers, who are just going to have all negative stuff to say about me and say to me. They want me to come on their channel and have my time wasted like that and be abused. Then pay me. You want to pay me $5,000 for that, for 5,000 euros for that 2 hours. Otherwise, don't waste my time.
Yeah,
Well,
I
here's the
will waste my
question.
time.
but just
If they invited you to speak at MIT, would you not go for nothing, Brian?
Yeah, for nothing, because it's not like I'd expect them just to cover whatever expenses I need. But I would do that in this position I'm in now. I wouldn't be, because I do it for nothing, because it's not a waste of my time.
Yeah, I've done that too. So that was another acid test. Maybe I shouldn't be letting this go, but so with Vice, they covered my expenses, right? So I had to travel down to London, Ali Pally, and there was a few travel expenses and lunch and things, and they covered all of it, right? To their credit, they did actually pay for that. But I wasn't out of pocket. In other words, anything that I had to pay to get there and be there and or eat or whatever it was, they were like, no, just give us receipts. We'll pay you back for all of it. And they did. And they wanted me specifically. They didn't want to pay petrol. They said that was a pain in the ass. They wanted me specifically to go on the train so I could submit the train ticket as an expense. I was like, I hate not driving. But I kowtowed because I wanted to do it. And I couldn't have afforded to do it if they didn't pay my expenses. So there's been many times when Mark Sargent, to his credit, often pass, or he used to, because I turned so much down, he doesn't anymore. But back in the day, Mark Sargent would pass this stuff to me. This guy wants to interview a flurf. I'd be like, okay, fine, pass him over. And when they were like giving off the vibes that they just wanted to ridicule you, they weren't in any way inclined to pay my expenses. They want to chastise me like these idiots on these neutral platforms. Nathan doesn't want to journal. It's like, when you're paying me, even if it's a nominal amount, in the case of Vice, they didn't pay me. They paid my expenses. That's not paying me, right? It just didn't cost me anything to go to London to do their interview, to get however a million views on Vice. Great, good for me. I want that, but not if it costs me money. Now, at the risk that they just wanted to ridicule me, which I didn't think they did after testing the water and talking to the producer and talking to a bit of the crew and interacting with them. And, you know, they were amiable people willing to pay my expenses, so I did it. Now, people went, oh, but they paid a theremin at the back, so it sounded like, woo, weird music while you're talking about there being no earth curve, so that made you look silly, was some people's attitude. And you're like, okay, reached 1 million people talking about flat earth, my face was on it, I say that's worth it. Unless it cost me £100, then it wouldn't have been. I'd still be seething. I mean, I've literally today, with this microphone that I've authorised a return on when I didn't need to, it's going to have cost me 40 quid. That's what I'm saying. In reality, if it does actually come back, I'll still be made whole. I'll have it to sell again. So in reality, it's just the annoyance of having to sell it again for 40 quid. But I see that as costing me 40 quid. And even that is to the point where I've literally, and I'm not even joking, I shed a tear over it. I was absolutely livid with myself for authorising it when I didn't need to, through the, whatever it's called, eBay service. I forgot what it's called now, the appeals service. I'd lasted out the time and then instigated appeal when I didn't need to. Idiot. Right? Now, even now, it might not wing its way back. The punter might not notice. I'm still furious with myself. So when people are like, come and waste time you haven't got for me to share my pain and tell you you're an idiot for an hour or two, while you then get an opportunity to talk back and I commute you. Yeah? That's what people want when they ask me that. I'm like, how much you paying? Nothing.
Yeah. Why would you join in on it then?
What?
Unless you're a masochist, why would you, Nathan Oakley, want to be on someone's channel, getting muted and being abused?
Money.
Yeah.
I'm willing to listen to the guy a week ago, when he was opening his case for this microphone, lie through his back teeth about receiving something I personally packed immaculately, tested. You as an audience probably saw his microphone on a video I produced, and he's saying it arrived damaged. He takes a picture of it, perfect, sat on bubble wrap. Now, when I spoke, literally, because I did, I phoned eBay over this. I am furious, eBay. I've done everything right. I've tested it. I've wrapped it perfectly. I've helped him. I've given him hours of service testing it. For him, he's just lying. Yeah? Well, I've dealt with that for hours so as not to have a £40 return where eBay are themselves paying for the return postage fee. I'm not paying that, right? So even now, I'm still fuming over that. Well, you say to me, I'll give you 200 quid. Come and sit on my channel for an hour and I'll mute you indefinitely. Now, the other thing is, right, if that was the case, and they were like, yeah, okay, there's an exchange of money. They're giving me a couple of $100 for the sake of argument, right? They want value from the $200. They don't just want the pain relief. When the male wanted to talk to me, they eventually got that Karen chick from Sun, Moon and Zodiac group. Do you remember her with the big wild hair? Well, they got her. Now, did they pay her expenses? No. Did they ridicule her like a witch? Yes, they did. Now, when I spoke to them and they were a bit unforthcoming and they weren't entertaining anything about expenses, you didn't get anywhere near that conversation, I knew damn well to just ignore them because it wasn't going to benefit me. It was only going to be of benefit to them. Now, there's going to be empathic tossers out there that go, oh, I see how this might give me props. You're a newspaper. No, dickhead, learn how the bleeding world works. Now, if on the other hand you're giving me money, it's like I'll weigh it up against my time. Now, I don't earn very much, right? I'm on the verge of poorness always, and have been for 10 years. So you dangle a few quid in front of me, there's a good chance I'll go, that makes a difference for me this month. Yeah, I'll take a couple of £100 for you to put me on mute when you ask me, how do you explain these windmills on this horizon? Well, that's kind of a function of... All right, no worries. You can rant over me. No worries. As long as I get to count the 200 quid at the end of it.
Exactly. Make it work. What's in it for me? You know, it has to be something in it for me. Because if you're not getting paid anything to go on to those bloody stupid channels and listen to them idiots, right, drone on and get pain relief, what's the point in being there? Who's going to do that? See, they want you to go there and give them the pain relief that they need for free. It's like, no, I'm not giving you that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, I'm not giving that to you. If you want that, you're going to have to pay for it. You know, how much do you want it? You know what I mean? You're like the neuro thing, where they're paying.
Yeah, and when you put a dollar amount on someone's mental pain, they suddenly treat it very differently. People are very... I'm going to go with ignorant. People are ignorant of the value of their own time. Now, that obviously changes on a scale depending on who you are, what you do, and how much what you do earns. Obviously, that's going to vary massively from person to person. But you have to weigh that dollar amount, pound amount for me, against your own mental well-being, happiness, right? You've only got, in my opinion, a very limited amount of time. And to me, I made this decision quite some time ago, the time is much more valuable. Now, often you find that that is incongruent with keeping a bleeding roof over your head. And you have to go, I'm going to dedicate the next hour to back and forth messages on eBay with somebody about a 40 quid microphone. Because I don't want to lose that 40 quid. It makes all the difference to whether I can keep a roof over my head. So I am going to spend the hours and hours and hours back and forthing on a stupid eBay messaging service because I see that value in this instance. Now, for today, that makes the difference. But if I was in 6 months out on the trail doing book interviews and trying to get people to sign up to the affiliate program and earn their 30% off my sale of my book, I get an eBay return for somebody who wants to return a 100 quid microphone. Have the 100 quid. Just keep it. Might be my attitude. Because suddenly I've got a very different attitude about what my time is worth at that particular moment. Yeah? Now read between the lines if you want pain relief from Nathan Oakley currently when I'm having to run 3 jobs. And I don't want to hear any of you're doing Fortnite while you're doing the book. Yeah, at some point. But how long we've been doing the book now? It's coming on for 18 months of it. Yeah, so don't tell me I don't put my heart and soul into this bleeding book because I occasionally play Fortnite while the spell checker's going over it with Adam. How dare you all? You're all scum.
It's going to be a great book at that. And number 2, let me ask you a question. Have you turned down more interviews than you've accepted?
But turned down what?
Have you turned down more opportunities like interviews more than you have accepted?
Oh, yeah, massively.
They might be trying to ridicule you.
Hugely. If you see any interview that I've done that's outside of my own channel where I'm earning my own money, like now, right? I mean, I've earned a tenner, right? Retro Bill, I remember the sentiment more than the money. I absolutely assure you today I needed that, man. Thank you so much. It was a crap day testing microphones, one after the next not working after you've spent money on them. Oh, I could cry. I didn't yesterday. Today I did. Refunds for things I've already sold. Absolutely heartbreaking. My point is, right, I've forgotten my point. What was my point? What were you just asking, Neil? I was responding to something. I've forgotten what it was.
How many interviews have you turned down?
Most of them. Most of them. I will get in touch with the person and try and build a rapport. So I did several interviews and events. I did a year in review. I did the... I can't remember what he called it when they did the interview with me as a just flat earther, like an on the bed with Paula style. There was all sorts of things I did with Vice because I built a rapport with them, right? That is to say, it was a symbiotic relationship where I benefited, they benefited. Most of what we did together didn't get published. Yeah, to say that I do things, they would get filmed and then they'd tell me after the fact when they were like, oh, this will come out X time, and then it didn't. I'd be like, where's that? And they're like, oh, we decided it didn't quite function in our current lineup of material that we were releasing, so we just didn't carry on the editing process. You mean you axed it? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, you just be blunt with me, just tell me. We didn't want it anymore, we thought it was crap, so we're not using it. Just say that and I can get off your phone call, right? But I built a rapport with Vice, and some of it did get out, right? Some of it made it out and people saw me on the Vice channel, right? Great. But I got paid. My expenses didn't lose money. 9 times out of 10, they only want the pain relief. Why would they be any different to anti-flat earthers in that regard if it's a newspaper? It's just a guy doing his job. The fact that he's getting paid to sat at the newspaper is no different to somebody who's in their leisure downtime, not getting paid and getting the same pain relief. So if you can build a rapport with that person and you like them, then you'll work with them, sometimes for free. Right? I rely on that at the moment. I'm not paying Adam a dime while I moan about how many months I've put into my own bleeding book. It's mine. Adam at the moment going through it and spelling checking, telling me he's tired, and I'm like, bloody hell, I hope he doesn't ascribe his tiredness to my book that he's helping me. God, please, Adam, please be something else that you're doing that's knackering you out. You know what I mean? Because as much as you're just playing Fortnite, there are points that it gets like, oh God, I actually do need Adam to be doing what he's doing for free, right? He's giving up huge chunks of his time. Well, if you want that out of me, you've got to build a rapport with me. So you're going to do that for some wanker like we deal with here when they come to me and I'm making coin off them coming to me? No. your Simon Dans and such can have me, but they'd have to pay. It's just that simple. You know? The whore, she's not going to get in the car unless you pay her. Me, I'm the whore. Do you not get it? Anyway, I'm comparing doing interviews with Turning Tricks, which is pretty low. I do feel that way.
I don't like when you do that. Go ahead, Brian.
I'm just saying, thanks, Neil. I'm just saying they want your point, and that's okay. It's okay to give your point when it's worth your while, when there's something positive to come out of it, something in the future, maybe even some positive financially in the future. Right? The point is that what benefit, let's say, from a positive point of view, can you get from going on to one of these channels to speak to one of these people who just wants to mute you, just wants to overtalk you, who's going to come out at you with the same utter BS that the rest of them have come at you for 10 years with? What is the point? What are you there for? There's nothing there for you. So pay me and I'll be there. Otherwise, go away. You know what I mean? Just take your pain and go away. Bring it to the ocean. Leave the ocean deal with your pain. I don't care about it.
Give your pain to the... What? Bloody hippie. Give your pain to the ocean.
I don't know. It's just not my fault.
Bring your pain to the ocean. I like that.
You like that? Bloody hell, surrounded by hippies.
Yeah, but it's like you can't take their pain away. You like shouting at you is a temporary thing. It's like those teeth need to get pulled. They need to go. A couple of Nurofen are not going to sort it. Do you know what I mean?
Let me adjust something real quick. Mr. Buck Sodbuster, he was the one that got the pitch data, wasn't he? Pitch data. It was Buck, wasn't it?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Buck.
he's.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so Buck Sodbuster, I am sorry, but I will not be signing Nathan's book for you. I will sign it for Skeptic 936 because that's my boy.
Okay. Well, with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow.
Signature daily.
Oh, you're working on your autograph.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, Brian, let me ask you a question. There's the Auburn University, it's a big school, right? They're known for agriculture and things like that, but it is a well-known school. If I can somehow get you a speaking engagement, would you turn up?
Yeah, absolutely. That's in the US, it is.
It's in Alabama, Auburn, Alabama. I got it in there, and I think I'm going to use it. Now, this pastor friend of mine, he was actually a best man at my wedding. His name is Rick Hagans. He, I think he's almost walked across all of America. What he'll do is he'll take his vehicle. Let's say he'll go to Texas. He'll park his car on the highway, and he'll walk, like, say, 20 miles. Mark the spot. He'll walk back 20 miles, get in the truck, and bring the truck there. Right? And he walks across states to raise money for the children in Mexico that are barefoot and have no shoes. He's been doing that for years. And he's well known at Auburn University. I bet if I reached out to him, I could get in there.
Neil, all I'd need is the help with travel and expenses. I would need some help with that because I just couldn't afford it. But I'd absolutely do that. Without a doubt.
And they actually, what I'm thinking about is they got a flight program where you could take a course and learn how to fly. There's an airport right here, small planes. And man, we could get in there and you give a lesson on the pitch data. I think it's going to be good. And just Flat Earth in general, they're very receptive here because it is the Bible Belt. And now it could be met with reproach or it could be welcomed. We'll see how they get on. I mean, if you're going to follow scripture, then there's no globe.
Well, I would absolutely love that, without a doubt. That's right up my alley. Yeah, well, because I have no hassle. Like I probably would have done some of the interviews that Nathan was offered back years ago. I probably would have done some of them more than Nathan did, even if they would have been shown some kind of negative attack on me. But yeah, absolutely, that would be what I'd want. Something where I can speak to people and deal with Q&A, questions and answers, because that's what's needed. As opposed to every time one of us wants to speak, nearly every single time, we always have to speak to some border who's in our way of relaying information. It's always the same, no matter where we go. We always have to have some debate. Why do we have to debate? We can just listen to what we're saying. You know?
I had
Yeah,
to
I think we
join
should start
Discord
doing.
just to say, share your pain with the flat ocean.
Yeah, bring our pain to the flat ocean and leave it.
Bloody hippies.
As you stare at the flat horizon.
That isn't the geometric edge of a globe. Yeah, actually, maybe going to the ocean may not be a good idea for them. See the boat that's blocked by inferior mirage, not our curve. I just picture like someone standing at the edge of the water with their hands on their heads, and they just leave out this big scream at the ocean. You know what I mean? This rage and frustration and pain, low pain.
And know why your tears fall into the ocean, that water is level.
Yeah, I think now's the time. It's been, I don't know, what is it? For some, it's been over 10 years, right? Me, right around
Betty, it's
9.
11.
Yeah, 11. So exactly. And now I think we got to start reaching out and try to get in. Like that, like the tour guy, that James Tour. He goes around. All right, he's got a lot of credentials, but so does everybody here in Flat Earth. You know?
Yeah, but the thing about it is you can't get a PhD in this topic. This topic
Exactly.
is learned outside of. Yeah, it's totally learned outside of education, academic.
Academia.
Circles. Yeah,
but that guy will debate cream of wheat, not a professor whackface.
Yeah, that's
whatever
what
his
I'm
name
thinking.
is, about evolution or whatever that is. But to get him into this topic, I doubt that would happen. Even though I'd love to see him have a conversation with QE, I think that'd be very interesting.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we got to use that the same way he used it. He got on, he used his credentials, and he had a platform to share. So we can have a platform where we share Flat Earth. I mean, you could start with evolution, go in and debate over evolution, and you could. That always gets right into Flat Earth, and bam, you're in.
You know what the problem is that over the years there's been too many bad flat earthers and false flat earthers who've been put forward for doing things, whether it be radio shows, TV slots, podcasts, whatever, and they haven't relayed the topic in a good way. So consequently, people know there's something to it, but the people who they've seen relay it have been very bad. So the problem is they don't realize, because they never come across the likes of us in this arena. In their circles, they don't come across the likes of us. So consequently, they don't realize the value of the real information, because they come across people who are trying to promote ice walls and things like that, and it just becomes monotonous and boring. You know what I mean? Okay, ice walls. Is that all you got? You know what I mean? There's an ice wall around Antarctica on the globe. It means nothing. Do you know what I mean? You have to be able to make so. If you're going to say ice wall, you have to be able to give good reasons for it, make an argument for it. If you're actually going to say it, but you can't claim it. So there's a lot of stupid stuff that's being put out there, and people just don't know the benefit of the real information because they never hear it. They don't hear that information. They only hear the nonsense.
That's why we got to start getting in there. That's my point. Enough of the nonsense, guys. You heard enough from them. Now it's time to speak to real people that understand this topic and understand that it's not an argument. This is fact. And here's the facts.
Yeah, I've had on that video that Nathan played yesterday, or was spoke about yesterday. I've had people, ballers, tell me that the bit of curvature that the plane would have to deal with is negligible. It's like 1.837 miles, which is just negligible. Like where the plane ends up over 1.8 miles too high is negligible. Are you serious? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that where you're going to go with this? Negligible. You know, it's only a small bit of curvature. It's only 1.8 miles.
That word again, negligible.
Yeah.
Whenever something is supposed to be what it is, but it actually isn't what they claim, oh, it's negligible. Right.
Or what was the other thing they'd say when you asked them for proof of curvature? They had a word that they used, evidence of curvature. Never curvature. The bottom of a building's missing. That's evidence of curvature.
No, it was the effects of curvature. They couldn't show you the measurements. They could show you the effects of curvature. It's like, you're showing me the main effect of something that you can't show me. Go on, Chocolate. Sorry.
The effects of curvature that you also said that it was too big to measure. But
Yeah.
you got the effects of that, but you didn't get that you got the effects of. Oh, okay. That checks out.
Yeah, you didn't get the actual curvature itself, but we did come up with some effects that are related to it.
Yeah, it's listen, that part of that building is missing, and this is signs and effects and evidence of curvature. Obviously.
How do you know it's the effect? What else is an effect of curvature? Oh, everything. Oh, everything we experience is as an effect of curvature that you also didn't measure. Oh, okay. That works.
Everything. Yeah. Well, that's another thing they do, right? That's nail on the head.
Is it everything? I don't know, the sun, the sunset, sunrise, right? Oh, how the moon moves, water. I think everything is an effect of it, but we just don't have it.
That's another thing they do, though. They just give these broad, sweeping statements where everything. You know what I mean? It's like, what map is the globe map? All maps are globe maps. Give me the specific one. The one that you'll put your name to. Nothing. You know what I mean? There's no specific anything. It's like, they just won't. They won't, like, it's always like, oh, it's always there. Oh, it's all happening. There's thousands of things. Do you know what I mean? Everything's an effect of curvature. Like, they can't give you anything specific that they can actually support and prove. It's everything kind of thing, isn't it? Haven't heard from Nathan in a while. He must be making coffee or playing Fortnite.
I think to spice it up a little bit, we got to have a rumpus day.
No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm just mucking around. I'm keeping myself amused. So I've got an old vacuum, right? My brother-in-law's mother and father recently died, so they're clearing out their house. And one of the things that they had was a vacuum that's the same as the one we had. And they brought it up and they're like, do you want it? I'm like, well, I'm not going to say no. So I took this vacuum, but then we've got 2 vacuums. I'm like, I'll put one of them on eBay. So I put it on eBay, collection only. Of course, it's a giant vacuum cleaner. It's not like a microphone that you can just put in the post. Now, if it's not me, you're getting queries constantly from people. Can you post this to me? No. Can you post this? No. Can you post this to me? Just in London? No. Right? So now I just have a bit of fun with it. Right? So I'll just read it out. Hi, I'm interested. This is in the vacuum cleaner. I'm interested, but would need postage. My address is blah, blah, blah. And then I reply, polite at first, right? Hi, I don't have a box big enough, I'm afraid. Can I interest you in a high-quality microphone? So I'm immediately just taking the piss right now.
And that I can cover postage.
Say again? Oh, let me
you follow it up with, and that I can cover postage.
No, you're ruining this, Neil. Right, let me just carry on. So he responds, or she responds.
No, that was funny.
Microphones are not very good at cleaning carpets, I'm afraid. I respond, no, but they are easy to ship. Sorry, I'm absolutely apologetic about your vacuum needs going unfulfilled, right? And then when you asked me a second ago, what's Nathan doing, right? I dug out a dustpan and brush and put it on the table, which has all been cleared out beautifully for taking photographs of microphones. So this room is a studio. It's got beautiful lighting. It's got plenty of places to put things up against other things to make them look nice in photos, right? So I dig out a dustpan and brush, put it beautifully, light it, and then took a picture in the eBay Messenger and said, can I interest you in this? And send him a picture of a dustpan and brush. Beautifully lit. Now, for me, I'm just cheering myself up because I've had a crap day, couple of days on eBay. So this is just for my own amusement. And then you're like, is he gone to get a coffee? Nah. I'm
Cheering yourself up.
I'll just finish this off. So his response is just sent, well, I was telling you all this. His response, after I said, can I interest you in this? A picture of a dustpan and brush. Says, nope, won't fit through my letterbox. That's a lot of fun. See, that's if you sell things that you like, in my case, microphones, or it'd be the same if I was vlogging hi-fi, you can have fun with it, right? Life's a bit of a laugh. So yesterday, I contacted somebody, and I'm trying to buy lots of these cheap little vintage microphones because most of them fail, right? As I found out yesterday, a lot of them fail. So you got to buy a lot of them, and you got to get them really cheap because there's a good chance of going in the bin, right? So people always want 10 quid. I always want to pay £1. And I'm explaining this to this guy, but while I'm doing it, I've lost all interest in being polite, and it kind of shows to this guy I'm speaking to. So I'm speaking to this guy, and I'm like, I gotta be honest, this is possibly the ugliest microphone I've ever laid eyes on. That's how I phrased it to him. Now, I said that being sincere, not thinking about it, because I was just speaking my mind. So I've got to try and stop laughing, right? And he got back in touch with lots of crying, laughing emojis going, I might sell you this for the insulting amount you've offered for it just because you made me laugh. He says, just a word of advice. If you're going to try and buy something from someone, it's best to compliment them first. Now, I've worked in purchasing and selling. I know that's the case. So my immediate responded with, this microphone's absolutely beautiful. I really want to buy it. Like immediately afterwards. So then this guy sends me an offer for £5, including all this postage, right? Which in any other circumstances, I'd have snapped his hand off because it's like, wow, I've got straight to the bit where I can buy it for a reasonable amount where I'm happy to throw it in the bin when it doesn't work. And instead, I turned down his offer, something I've never done before at that stage. And I went, no, I'm only giving you £4.50 for this horrendous monster of a microphone. No. And again, he wrote back with a load of laughing emojis and accepted my basically pittance. It would barely cover the cost of the postage. But it was funny while I was doing it because it's like, no, I can say that with sincerity. I looked at this microphone and it was ugly. I told him. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you it's pretty because it isn't.
I used to. I hate haggling. I hate haggling over prices.
Oh, I love haggling. Haggling is the best bit. I live for haggling. Haggling's wonderful. I'll overpay because someone's haggled. In other words, it'll get to a point where I'm like, oh, this isn't financially viable now. And they want to keep going. And I think, oh, I enjoy this so much. I'm prepared to overpay by a quid or two just because I'm enjoying the process so much.
Yeah, I think it was when I was selling stuff and someone was trying to look for less off me. I go, because I'd give it at a good price, whatever it might be. And I used to do this when I was younger, and I don't sell much now. I stopped selling things. I used to sell things a lot when I was younger. Now I remember. I used to sell a lot of stuff. I used to make money off of it, but I used to always give a good price. I was never robbing anyone. And when someone would be trying to go, let's say the price is like 25, right? And someone is going 16 to me, I go 27. Right? And I'm not moving from that 27. You either get it at 25 and snap it up at 25, or it becomes more expensive. And I used to annoy people because I used to do that. And I wouldn't go back on it. I was like, no, 27 now. That's what it is. And it was annoying for people. So you can tell why I don't sell much anymore. I just couldn't stand that. Right? I'm giving it to you for 25. It's absolutely worth 25, without a doubt. You're getting it. I should be looking for 35, or even 30 at least. But I'm giving it to you for 25, and you're trying to give me 16. No, it's 27 now. So
there's this Jewish guy, and he'll go in there and he wants to get $75 for this item. And you know what? When he walks away, he gets $85 for the item. Comes in for it at $125, and by the time he's done, he's selling it for $85. And you think you got a deal. Meanwhile, he made 10 more bucks than he set on making because he went high.
Yeah. I don't buy things that people want. You don't buy things people want. You establish what they don't want. What item do you not want? Now, if you then can assess that item for how profitable you can make that item, you can't haggle if you want something, right? Because you'll never win. Never buy something. I only ended up with this Neumann because I was prepared to flip it. Now, once I got it, I'm like, I want to keep this, and I did. But at the time that I was trying to buy it, I'm like prepared to walk away because it's like, if you won't sell me this cheap, I can't turn it into profit. Now, the fact that I got it cheap and I've got to keep it, that's the point. If you're a car sales, if you're never going to be without a good car, because there's always an opportunity to get a good car while you're in the process of negotiating. But are you going to get a nice house? No, because you're not necessarily going to be in a privileged position that estate agents in, where they're always looking at a good house that's coming on the market before anybody else.
Yeah, back in the 70s, the bomber jackets were in, and everybody used to go to Delancey Street, and they'd come back and swear that they swindled them and got them down to $60. I'm shaking my head saying, yeah, you probably paid him $20 more than he was set on making for that jacket. But they would think they got over. Yeah, I got this. I chewed him down from 90 to 70. And I'm laughing because I know the guy knows the shop. He told me the gig.
Well, no, but then it's worth 70. So the value of any item is worth what someone will pay for it. That's what dictates price. How much will someone hand over money? Let's say somebody buys something for £1, but every day of the week someone will hand over £70 for it. And you're like, but he only paid £1 and was willing to take 50 every single time. And then next man, 1 in 20, came in and said, would you take 50 on it? And he says yes. And the guy's like, well, he hasn't got a good deal. He could have got it for 30. The guy only bought each item for £1. It's like, no, the items are worth £60 every single time. If someone can get it for 50, that's good for them. And the fact that the guy's getting them for 1 is good for him. But what it's worth is what someone will pay for it.
Yeah, plus that they buy bulk. So they've got a lot of leather jackets. So they probably, if you probably figured out, they probably pay maybe $30 for a jacket, maybe even less, and they turn it around and sell it retail. But when you're buying bulk, you know the deal, Nathan.
Yeah. Yeah, in order to make money on cheap microphones, I have to buy 20 of them. Cable's the same. You have to buy them from China in bulk. That bulk isn't as unattainable as it used to be. Now, 20 is bulk. I remember when my wife was distributing headphones and 100 was the number. Right? Well, now it's 20 and you're like, I can do that. You know, with a few quid. With a cheap item. The cheapest item I sell. Like the cheapest microphone I sell. I can buy 20 of them. Just about. I can afford to. Great. But most people can't. And the fact that I'm making £1 on something that's only worth a couple of quid is neither here nor there. Just, can you make profit on it? Can you buy it for £1 and sell it for 2? If the answer is yes, then you're doing okay.
But do you also repair the microphones, or do you send it out for repair?
Oh, Craig, he's on the panel now. So.
He's got a guy.
Well, fortunately, I weigh up the importance of them. So I said yesterday 5 mics were broken. They will not go in front of Craig because his time is valuable, and I recognise that. So when I've got an expensive microphone that has a problem, I give it to Craig and he will look at it. But if I've got something that's not expensive, then I don't waste his time or mine with it. It's just, this isn't worth its weight. It either goes in the bin or goes back on for pennies as spares. You know what I mean? In other words, I'm not going to waste his time going, look, this 30 quid microphone doesn't work. It's like, no, it's now £1 microphone on for spares. It's just not worth his time. But if something over 100 quid breaks, yeah, he can be damn sure I'm going to put it under his nose because I don't want to lose that, obviously. So, but there's a limit.
Yeah, I got this Ecitech 100 for the studio here, and it broke. I'm trying to find somebody to repair it.
What about it broke?
I think it's the where the RCA cable connects to.
Oh, very mendable then.
Power up, huh?
It's not like the capsule's failed or something. It's very mendable.
Oh no, I don't. No, I don't think the capsule's failed. I think it's just a wiring issue.
Yeah, take it to a computer shop or someone like that.
Yeah, I'll try to see if I find anything here. There's not a lot of repair guys left over here in Switzerland. Most of them are dead or retired.
Well, not for audio gear, but there will be for computers. That's what I'm saying. So.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, somebody who service computers, you can go, can you have a look at this?
Well, that's an idea. I haven't thought about that. That's an idea. Thanks, Sam. Thanks
but
for
before
that.
computers, right, the tech guys that were dealing with the audio gear would be the modern equivalent of the computer tech guys, right?
Yeah, I guess.
The old equivalent, I should say.
Yeah, the people who used to fix audio stuff and TVs and stuff now fix monitors and computers.
Yeah.
iPads, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The ham radio guy that used to fix your TV doesn't exist anymore. He's dead.
Yeah, exactly. My uncle in the 70s would point to the TV, that big box in the middle of the room, and say, you know what? You don't need any of this. Your TV could be as thin as a piece of cardboard. All of these tubes in the back, that's just to keep people busy and working. Soon they'll be obsolete. And we all thought he was crazy.
Yeah,
how right he was.
Yeah, very right.
I'm surprised, though, that you found a niche in that microphone market, because, like, I bought a bifaily. I'm sure you've heard about them.
Fantastic.
For the studio, and
awesome.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what you could get these days for $100.
No. You just looked at because you bought a bifaily. You're nudge in the know about a Chinese manufacturer that gives a crap about what they're producing and wants it to be good and can pitch their prices competitively. They've caught a lot of people's attention. I like bifaily. Very nice.
Yeah, that's something that China has. Yeah. If you're a Chinese businessman and you have a product that you're making and you want it to be top notch and you want the world to recognize your product, it's more difficult coming from China than any other country in the world. Like, there might be other countries, if you hear it's coming from Thailand, you might go, I don't know, I'd say now it's just banged together, you know, that kind of way. Because you don't know of a lot of products from Thailand, and there's a lot of poverty in Thailand. So you're kind of thinking, well, they probably cut corners as a business. But like, that's what it's ignorant thinking, but it is what people will think. Right? So I have nothing against Thailand. I don't mean it that way. Just using it as a, could have said Cambodia or any of the poorer countries in Asia. But the problem is with China, you can get anything from China, but you're not expecting any kind of quality. And you're also not expecting, or at least people haven't been expecting quality. So they're certainly not expecting to have to pay any kind of money. So if some Chinese businessman is expecting you to pay some top dollar for what he actually is selling, which is top equipment, you're not likely to believe that he's selling top equipment because it's coming from China. You're thinking, this is going to be more of the same. And he's trying to get a lot of money out of me.
Yeah, that's something they have to fight. You're absolutely correct. So in this instance, by Faley, what we're seeing from China now is maybe 10, 15, even 20 years ago, as the country started to come up, they sent their kids to British universities and American universities. And they got educated in business, educated in technology, educated in all of the skills they'd need to run decent manufacturing and, proper businesses. So then 20 years later, those are the people that have set up their own businesses and can make the economy of China work for producing stuff, but just doing it at a high quality because they've learned how to do it at a high quality because they've been educated, right, at university grade through people, their parents, who've invested in them as kids when they've had the ability to do so as the country's come up. Now, in the case of people's perception of China, it's no different to back in the 40s and 50s when people started to have the perception of the Japanese, and then now you're like, well, if you buy something Japanese, it's considered to be the best. Well, there was a time when people would perceive that as the crap nicking the American jobs, and the same perception goes through to Korea and all the rest of the places you've just named, right? Same principle applies to all of them. But it gets to a point where you've got anybody person. The fact that they're Chinese is irrelevant, and they say, right, I wanted to make a good go of this product. In this case, we're talking about microphones, right? And then they go, well, where am I in the world to pitch this out? Well, I'm up against everyone cheap. So they've got to be relatively cheap. But relatively cheap in Chinese terms for a high quality item is easily much cheaper than the Germans and much cheaper than the Brits. So then you suddenly have a guy who's like, well, I can make a really high quality microphone too, but instead of it costing 500 quid, 400 quid from an Austrian or German manufacturer, it's 70 quid. But still high quality from a Chinese manufacturer. Now, I like that. I like that a lot. That's by Faley.
Well, my friend was telling me recently, well, when I say recently, within the past 6 months, that supposedly in China, now I don't know if this is the internet, it's stuff he's heard on the internet that has been kind of blown out of proportion or not, but supposedly in China, they laugh at Tesla cars. Because their electrics are supposedly way better than the Tesla cars.
They laugh at what?
Tesla electrics. They laugh at them. That they don't rate really? Tesla at all in China. That they have some brands in China that we don't get to buy here, and America don't get to buy because they're kind of kept out of the market. Because Tesla are kind of promoted as the #1 electric car company. You have some of the Japanese companies and others making electric cars too. But supposedly there's a few Chinese makes that are well above them in battery life and ability and extras and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's people in China who have money. Like China's not, everyone's not going around on a cart in China anymore. People have money in China, serious money.
Exactly.
And they don't buy Teslas.
No, it's like back in the day when Britain had a decent car manufacturing business generally. We wouldn't be buying the Americans' cars, right? We had our own manufacturing of better cars than the Americans were producing at the time in the 80s, say, and we weren't interested in buying American cars. Well, it's the same for the Chinese, right? They're producing their own cars, and they're like, why would we want to buy a American crap box for 80 grand when we can buy something from our own manufacturers that's better for 15?
Well, that's the thing about it, the makes that that the electric car makes from China, that there's a lot of people in America looking to get them in there and in Europe, and it's been blocked basically. They've been blocked from selling their cars simply because their cars will, cause problems for the other electric cars in the market. Because we're used to, now I don't like electric cars, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying people are used to a certain standard of electric car. That standard was risen in China some years ago. And once you can get a car, electric car, if you're looking for one that has a greater standard, that has better equipment in it, better everything, built better basically, and obviously a better battery life, you're not going to be buying the Teslas and the Hyundais as fast, So I don't know. I'm just saying that my friend said that. He said that supposedly people are trying to laugh at Teslas. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but he said it.
Right. Yeah. Well, as you say, the guy was asking how I've managed to carve out a little niche. It's just enthusiasm. You just find something that you're enthusiastic about, and then you don't mind spending hours and hours and hours watching videos and researching various different obscure little Chinese manufacturers and reading a ton of reviews before you might spend £3 on something to hopefully make a £5 on it. It's like you've got to have a lot of passion for something to do that. But I don't mind. I'm interested. So I'm hoping that as a result of my research, somebody will come along and spend, I don't know, £15 on a stage line microphone that I've got for sale, and they'll have very low expectations when they spend their £15. But when they get it home, plug it in and go, bloody hell, this sounds great, they'll be elated that someone like myself has gone out of his way to actually spend time to find something that's good and then haggle it down to £7 or £8 so I can make £3 or £4 on it and still sell it for 15 and pay all the eBay fees. But at the end of that process, there's going to be someone holding something that is a tool that can do a good job. So I'm proud of everything I've got to sell. You know what I mean? I've haggled hard on things that I know are good. That's why I'm upset that somebody's lied about something they've received that I know damn well works really well. Anyway, as faulty customers go, that's the most disappointing thing, when people just lie. And it's the same irritation anywhere, right? It's the same irritation on Flat Earth Debate. When you're dealing with somebody and you just want the concession, yeah, so you understand this is how it works, and they won't give it you. They just lie. That is infuriating.
Yeah, liars are hard to deal with.
Yeah, because especially when you're trying to help them. So in this case of this guy, I'm like, well, have you tried this? Have you tried this? Because I've bought a load of adapters, right? The reason I said I bought a load of adapters and wires was so that I could supply all of these mics with a whole bunch of adapters tested with each of them, so that when it arrives at the customer's house, there's a whole bunch of different gizmos and what's-its and doodahs that might help them plug it into whatever they've got to plug it into, right? Giving them a much higher chance of just immediate success, rather than getting it and going, oh, does this plug into this? So that's what I've done, right? In this case, the guy's received it, and he's got all the adapters in front of him. So I'm saying, have you tried it with this adapter into this product that you've told me you've got? Because when he's told me he's got an issue with it, I'm like, I cannot quite believe it! I packaged it beautifully and tested it. Nevertheless, what equipment are you using it with? Well, have you tried this? Have you? And I know the equipment and how it works that he's got, because I've researched that on the way, right? So I'm telling him, have you pressed this button? Have you tried that? Have you plugged it into this hole? And what he's doing is lying through his back teeth back at me. Yeah, I tried it. It didn't work. You're like, you lying bastard.
Why? But why is he lying? Did he have buyer's remorse?
Yes.
Because this happened to my son yesterday.
Yeah. People regret, they buy something, and they, with microphones, right? There's a dream that it's going to transform your voice into frickin' Michael Jackson if you buy an SM7B. You're like, just because Michael Jackson is a very skilled, talented man in a highly treated studio with Quincy Jones standing next to him can make an SM7B sound good, doesn't mean that you're going to buy one and suddenly sound like frickin' Michael Jackson. But that's the dream, isn't it? So suddenly someone buys the microphone and they go, this will pick up sound from 1,000,000 miles away and sound studio quality when it does. And then they get it and plug it in and they go, check, check, check. Oh no, it pops when I talk right into it. Oh, well, it's shit, isn't it? Like, no, it's a tool. It's like buying a knife. I bought this knife. Mistakes aren't good. I want to send it back.
Well, I bought this knife and it's not sharp enough. Meanwhile, the guy you went to stab You didn't know how hard it was to stab somebody. You got to jam that screw in there and get through the muscles.
No need.
But you're saying the knife is dull.
Well,
No,
that's
buddy,
the point.
you're
I've
just an amateur assassin.
When you've sharpened the knife, tested the knife, packaged the knife beautifully and shipped it off to somebody, and then they send you a photograph of it arriving perfectly. This is what this guy did. He sent a picture of it back to me in its box, in its bubble wrap, and said it's arrived damaged. Like, you sent me a picture of it. I can see it's not damaged. Lying shit. Anyway.
Well, with my son, he bought the new Sony or old Sony, and it was going to be $700. And I told him, I said, you just managed to save $1,000. This is going to put a big dent in it, and you're going to feel bad afterwards. No, I need it. I could give my brothers the other one so they won't come in my room. Sure enough, his whole face is, I could see it on him. Buyer's remorse.
Nathan, do you have it set up for free returns?
Hell no.
Oh, well, at least he's paying for the shipping to send it back, right?
No, eBay are paying it.
Yeah, that happens.
He's probably a baller, Nathan.
Probably a baller, that's what I thought.
That's what when I heard about him, that's what I was thinking. Like,
Yeah,
probably messing around with you because he can't.
I shouldn't be upset because it'll go back into my stock and I'll just sell it again. And other than the inconvenience of pressing relist this item, it probably won't make a big deal. You know, it's not going to matter that much. It's not like he's robbed me of it or I'm having to refund it and he's keeping it. So from one perspective,
no, you get it
who
back
cares?
and it's going to be broken.
Right. Brian's right. The ballers know you're selling mics. They're just trying to get under your skin, Nathan. It's a baller. You're right, Brian.
Yeah, it's broken. I bet you it's already broken. Sorry to tell you.
Oh, thanks, Brian and Neil. You're really cheering me up.
Hey, if it's broken when it gets back, then you can refuse the refund.
That's what they said. I phoned them. They said that. And I was like, hang on a second. If this is how this system really works, I'm quite earnest with these people. So I'm speaking to this woman in China on eBay. She's like, oh, hello. Thank you for being an eBay user for 20 years. I'm like, yeah, damn right. Give me good service. But she's like, yes, if the person who has received the item suggests that it's arrived faulty, then automatically we will side with them. I'm like, oh, okay. I says, but in what I've read, you're suggesting that when it arrives back with me, I can do the same? She's like, oh, absolutely. Yeah. I says, okay, when it gets back to me, I'll take a picture of it in perfect condition, like he's done, and say it's arrived faulty because of him. And she said, yeah, you can do that. I went, really? And she went, yeah. I said, is that stalemate there in it? No response. But at that point, it's like, okay, I've got it back. So I would assume they'd say, look, you're whole again. He's getting his money back. Get lost. That would be their attitude, I would imagine.
Well, I would test it thoroughly when it gets back just to make sure it still works the same way when you sent it out. And if it doesn't, then I would say, hey, he sent it back broken.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I wouldn't lie about it.
Thanks for the tip.
Yeah, no, but he's right. Next steps are always good to hear. That is precisely what I'd do. But you can probably imagine that this is chewing up hours of time. And while I'm discussing it now, literally, it's distracting from a different job. I'm talking about my second job and my first job. Which is awful. If someone's tuning into this, they're going, he's talking about mics again. Like, yeah, it's going to bleed into it.
Yeah, but we did Flat Earth all day. There's nothing wrong with talking about mics. I kind of like to talk about mics. You educate me. Now, people buy mics because they think they're going to sound like Michael Jackson when they just can't sing.
Yeah, I've appealed to that.
Microphone Earth debate.
Microphone Earth debate, yeah. I've got Beatles mics, though, haven't I, Neil? Right? I'm appealing to that exact mentality. I'm leaning into it when I market a Beatles microphone, right, Neil?
Absolutely.
So when you hear one deck going, I'd have had that Neil Young microphone, I'm appealing to that mentality, aren't I? And I had to market stuff on the other end, sales and marketing, right? I did it for years. So I'll lean right into that. But that also lends itself to people having a higher degree of buyer's remorse. Yeah? So it's a tight balance.
You know, it bothers me because I couldn't tell you what type of microphone I was using when I had my bands. And that's terrible. Like I had the bass down. I know exactly what type of bass. I noticed the system that I had, the Fender system, but I did not pay such close attention to the microphone.
But it was a PV.
Probably, or a
I
Shure.
don't know.
PV or Shure, probably, because you're in America.
I'll tell you what it looked like. It looked like a
Mine's a
snow
PV.
cone. It looked like a snow cone. You ever see a snow cone?
They all look
The
like a
ones you
snow
buy
cone,
from
Neil.
this-
That's what a microphone looks like.
No. This one looked like a big ball.
In any event, I've got one of those on order. It's called a Unisphere from Shure. Really shiny. So they go for about 100 quid, these mics. And I'm, again, negotiating with the guy over buying this mic. Really shiny old Shure from the 70s. And he's bigging it up and telling me how much it's going to go for and how many people are surrounding this mic to bid on it. And he won't take my opening bid offer. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll just wait and bid on it. So I did, and I won it for the opening amount. So I've got this really nice mic coming, and Adam looked at it and went, you could shine that up with Silvo. I'm like, can I? I was like, yeah. So I'm going to do exactly that. So it's going to be a really shiny Shure American microphone from the 70s.
So what's your eBay store?
I mean, what's my eBay store?
Like if I want to check out which microphones you have for sale.
I can send you a link if you want. I'll send you a Beatles link.
Yeah, sure. Please do.
I will. I'll grab it. I'll put it in Master B and I'll ask somebody to shove it in Discord. Just give me a sec.
Is that Flatsy?
No, that was Mickey Mouse.
Mess.
No,
Mickey
before.
Mess.
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, Sensual is aware that isn't that exact person is not Flatty. Come on, Nathan.
Moose. I like Moose too. That's pretty funny.
Are you talking about me? I am
You would
Flatsy.
have you would have featured in today's video, but Nathan cut it short. I think he's jealous of you.
Oh, really? Was Flatsy featured in the next part of the video?
Yeah, that we were reviewing.
We need to play
In
on.
this case,
I'm
matters.
articulating it.
But you're just saying it
Why the truth
matters.
answers
The
is
truth.
pretty self-evident.
So it's.
Why do they say knowledge is power?
But be more specific. How does knowing that the Earth is not a sphere give you knowledge that matters?
Well,
How do you think a flat, stationary, enclosed Earth? How does a flat, stationary, enclosed Earth get here?
I'm not going to get hit by a meteorite when I'm walking down.
Hold on, let Flatsy.
Yeah, Flatsy was going exactly where my hunch is. Go ahead, Flatsy.
Yeah, how does a flat, stationary, enclosed Earth get here?
Yeah, see, this is my suspicion. I think the real reason why it matters is because of people's theistic views. Am I wrong?
Really?
No, I'd say you're probably on the money to some degree. It's about control and people's beliefs and perceptions about this, and maybe their theistic beliefs would, it's the nature of the creation, right? They give you a creation story with the globe. It's a created system. So yeah, they're hiding creation from you, essentially.
Yeah, sorry about my dog barking there. But yeah, I thank you for the answer. I think that's the crux of it all. Because I think if you believe that the Earth is spherical and that the universe is, 50 billion light years across and billions of years old, then there's a chance maybe there's no God. But if it's
no, incorrect.
That's incorrect.
Yeah, the Catholic Church told you that the heliocentric model that they invented is proof of God of the Bible.
Well, let me put it this way. Like for me personally,
hold on, the space race brought to you by the American federal government, Nixon said God of the Bible picked America to win the space race because he claimed God told him that God loves capitalism.
Very reasonable.
But Flatsy, can you remember this?
Let him get his thought out because he's going somewhere.
Yeah, where I'm going with this is that if I were to be convinced someday that the Earth was flat and enclosed, like I think Flatsy was talking about, and not this expansive, huge, thing.
Now I want to ask a question. What consequences are there to you knowing this? Because that's kind of what his question was in regards to us generally knowing what Earth as a flat plane could or could not be, right? What's the consequences of whether or not we've got a shape, if memory serves me from the live show, right? So my question is, what does it matter if you know this or not? Who cares if you know or not?
I would say the implications of it being a flat, stationary, enclosed Earth, and we're being told that it's a spinning space monkey ball, that there's implications that you can't avoid at that point.
No, I'm not saying what are the implications that you would encounter once you appreciate Earth is flat. I'm saying what are the implications on us if this guy knows or not.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. If he wants to know, he can know. It's on him at this point to figure it out. So I don't have any obligation to convince him.
So it matters not if this guy knows or not.
Like I said, it's up to him if it matters. I can't make him want to know.
Okay. No, I'm just weighing up the what's in it for me bit. How much is it consequential to me if this guy figures that out or not? It isn't. Who cares then, is the answer to that question. It doesn't really matter if you know or not, mate, is the answer to that.
Well, it matters, as I said, I'll say it again, it doesn't matter individually, but it matters as a whole. Then it does matter. Individually, if he chooses to not want to know or whatever, it doesn't make any difference. But the problem is that it's like, take care of the pennies and the pounds will take care of themselves. Take care of the cents and the dollars will take care of themselves. It's that kind of a thing. Like, you can't expect the pounds and the dollars to work in the way you need them to work, or as they should be working for you if you're not paying attention to the pennies and the cents. He's the pennies and the cents. So it's not that you should go out of your way to try to convince him. It's that you need to, for him, he needs a reason to accept this. And he's looking for it. That's what he's there. He's looking for some reason to accept this. Because he knows deep down he can't. There's too many things that are in his way. He can't support his own claims, and he certainly can't debunk ours. So he's looking for a reason to accept it, or a reason to hand-wave it away as inconsequential. I can't say the word. I can never say it. Inconsequential. Inconsequential, sorry. So that's the problem.
I think that is more evidence for some type of creator.
Well, yeah. Well, that's it. There you go.
And so my question is this the real impetus, the real drive for most
listen, we're not the people who've put this in the education system. We're just experiencing the same thing you are.
Sorry about this. I think just playing it again. I'm sorry to the audience, but this is the common trait, common tactic and trait that happens with the ballers. Someone like him. They want to psychoanalyze you, right? From an outside standpoint. It's like, I wonder why these people think this type of thing. And technically what he's doing is looking straight down his nose at you. I can't stand those kind of people.
I got you. I do actually agree that that's mainly the motive of people like this guy who comes in. He wants to attribute our being out here and talking about it to we want other people to see the theistic view, when in fact it's the other way around. We realize that the earth is flat, stationary, and enclosed, and then we ask that question. It's always in that order, not the other way around. So yes.
Yeah, because my attitude with someone like him, I lose the rag with him pretty fast. I can't swear here because I don't want to cause Nathan a problem. But if I could swear, I'd say it's basically what I'd be saying to him is, have you any effing glow proof? Because if not, F off. I'm not interested in talking to you. Right? So come up with some glow proof or hit the road. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in your psychoanalyzing or any other nonsense. Sorry, go on, Fletch.
I think this conversation gets really good later on because we're all very aware of this tactic that's used. So it's not like he just got us on one. The conversation ends up being really good, and I enjoyed the conversation that everybody had with this guy. So I do remember having this conversation. I'm trying to remember this guy's name. I can't remember his name, but it was a very good conversation. By the end of it, it was good.
So we can speculate on the motives of strangers that we've never met, but it's not going to be.
Well, I'm not asking you to speculate on other people. I'm asking you to give your own opinion.
Well, that is what it would be, speculation on these people's motives.
No, what's
which
your
we could
motive?
do, but
What is your motive?
No,
My motive for
he's
what?
asking about what motivates us to know the reality of the world we live in. So I will say the answer is dependent to the person, because my personal thing wouldn't be the same thing for everyone, because I want to know what's the reality of the world we are living in, just for not being ignorant.
Yeah, I understand.
So imagine,
I understand that.
You don't know. Imagine you don't know how your house look like.
Yeah, I understand that there's virtue and truth. I get that. However, like there's so many truths out.
Sorry, it's just I don't want to stop it so soon after being stopped. But your man, that guy said earlier, he was asking, I can't remember who it was in the Discord, but what's your motive? No, what's your motive, buddy? Why are you here? Do you know what I mean? If you want to go into psychological, we go into your psyche, your psychological issue. Let's go into that. Why are you here? What's your motive for being here and asking me these stupid questions? You know, if you don't have any, if you have no glue proof, then what's the point of you being here?
Exactly, Brian. What's this all about? Motives. We know Earth is measured flat. There's no motive here.
Yeah, because it has to be some conspiracy for this guy. There must be some motive behind all this stuff. These type of people have some more. Let me just categorize them into some psychology handbook. Hit the road, buddy.
Out there on the planet that like there's a true way to build a carburetor on a certain car. There's a true and right way of doing that. But do I care about it? No. And so this is what I'm getting at, is that I think the motivation, and I'm speculating here, but this is why I'm asking, because each individual can give their own motives. But I think it actually has to do with increasing the probability of there being a creator. Am I wrong?
No, that's a Catholic Church and heliocentric.
I was
that's wrong.
What are you doing in spiral out when they find out that they've been lied to? That's my motivation.
Personally, I was theist before Flat Earth, and Flat Earth didn't change anything on my theology beliefs. Doesn't have.
Did he say possibility of being a creator? Did I hear correctly?
Influence that it doesn't relate to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what you need to do is look up the people who present the heliocentric model. Copernicus said the model is made with perfect circles and perfect circular orbits. Only God can make something so perfect.
Yeah, I would just put it this way. Like,
yeah, you're a fucking idiot.
Why would it matter, right? And I would say, of course, it mattered enough for you to be here and asking the question.
Well, yeah, this matters to me is the motivations. I am very curious about it. And my...
Called it. And so did the guy on the panel talking to him.
I guess my hunch is right for some people and wrong for other people is what I'm hearing.
See, immediately projected it back out onto the third parties. Instantly. Admitted it for about 5 seconds.
Well, everyone's different, it's just like anything else, isn't it? People have their own motivations, but in general, yeah, we're here for what's true, what is.
And I guess, like, I lean consequentialist, so I do value truth, but I do also know that there's many truths that don't really matter to me. And I'm just trying to get, is there a practical reason to believe the Earth is flat? I'm a very practical
Oh, yeah, like indoor plumbing. Like you could.
Yeah. Very practical. It's funny you said that. but that wasn't why before that I wanted you to pause. He says, I don't really care about many truths. That's the problem. The fact that people like you don't care about truth. That's the problem. You're okay with a load of rubbish. Then you're wondering why the world is in a heap. Of course the world is going to be in a heap. Your standards are in the gutter. That's the problem. You know, he's basically asking, why do you people want to learn things? Why does anyone want to learn things? You know what I mean? Why? Because they want to know. People want to know. It's like it's a stupid question that he's asking people. Oh, everyone wants to know stuff. You know what I mean? Some people go a bit further than others, but that's like asking, why do you send your children to school then? What's the
Especially
purpose of
when
them
we're
going to
told that we're
school?
living on a ball, right?
Yeah, what's the purpose of them of anyone going to school? If you know what I mean? If there's some evil motive behind this, no, the whole purpose is to educate, get them educated. So, well,
That's a good point. That's a good point, Brian. There's a bunch of people who enter into this topic and they're satisfied after a certain point. They realize that the Earth isn't it's probably not a globe, and that's really kind of settled with them that it's probably not a globe. It's probably flat. They lied about it. Let me move on. And maybe they go on and they don't know as much as we do, you know, and that maybe they encounter us later on.
That's fine.
You know, but it happens a lot, I'm sure. So
and that's fine.
That's the majority, and that's suffice. That's the majority.